Hello, everybody. My name is Drew Dosek, and welcome to Trading the Close. Today, we saw a lot of sideways chop action on the S&P 500, but we did have some volatility amongst some smaller technology stocks today, and we're going to take a look at a few of those, such as Unity Software. AVGO had a nice move up as well, but let's just jump into the data and see some of the information that's presenting itself today. So here on the market summary page, we've got Dow Jones basically flat, down 0.17%, NASDAQ's up 0.37%, S&P about as flat as you can get, up 0.02%. U.S. oil is down 0.83%. Gold is pushing higher just ever so slightly by 0.59%. Bitcoin is flipping to go down a little bit today. More bearish consolidation on that chart that we're going to check out here in just a few moments. Into the heat map for the S&P 500, you can see there was clearly some nice winners today, those being Meta and Google and Netflix. These three stocks today really propelled and helped elevate the S&P 500 on the charts. You can see here in finance sector was a little bit more red. Consumer durables, Tesla, Ford, Halliburton, those flipped more to red as well. You see utilities and energy minerals also nicely red across the entire scope. So you have a mixed bag. AVGO, though, was one of the charts we're going to get into later on, and we will do that soon. Into the S&P 500. Now, first, let's look at the daily chart. We see here on the SPX, price action moved up ever so slightly today, but we're not closing above yesterday's high candle. Today's volume, too. Notice down here at the bottom of the screen, we're starting to have lower candles of volume over the last 3 trading days. That's telling me there's not as much conviction with this move higher that we're experiencing on the charts. Yesterday's closed above this pivot, but then today we kind of are faltering out right here. That's all fine for now. There's no red flags being raised, but I'm starting to get more of an inkling that we are starting to top out, at least in the near term. However, there's still room to move up. Even though on the daily chart we are extended, the weekly chart, we are not extended. So we still can move up. There's a possibility should new momentum get injected into the market, such as any new tariff deals that are in a positive scope would be busting through this initial resistance right at the 6,011 point mark. Next area of resistance, should that happen, is up here above 6,200 in that blue parallel channel. Into the Qs. The Qs, they did have a little higher push today than the S&P 500, and that was mainly because some tech stocks really pushed higher today. And that was on Semiconductors, AVGO, Meta, those tech stocks that I had mentioned had really pushed and propelled the QQQ to stay higher throughout the day. We'll see if that continues, but all the while, again, I bring your attention down to the bottom of the screen. Not a lot of conviction showing that this price action wants to push higher and stay higher for the longer term. Into the SMH. SMH was a recipient of some inflow of cash as we see a much clearer break above all of this chop than what we were looking at on the other indices. So this is a nice move for SMH. Next resistance at 260.05. But again, too, down here, look at the common theme, guys. Lower volume, less conviction. We'll see if that continues tomorrow or if we start to have a little bit of a pullback, consolidate on top of this bull flag formation. IWM had another sideways day after this big move up the day prior, but that's all in all fine for IWM. We initially, though, want to see a confirmation of a breakout above this declining trend line. You can see here that wasn't accomplished today. We'll see tomorrow if we get a close above the high here at 209.61. If we do that, there's a good shot at moving higher on the IWM. But keep in mind, whenever price breaks this pattern, this declining trend line, it often likes to first confirm and then retrace this trend line. So the trend line would be a buying opportunity once we have confirmation of a close above the high breakout candle here. Into Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, guys, this is something that I've learned over the years, and I want to bring it to your attention too. Oftentimes, the crypto space will lead and be a leading indicator for the rest of the markets. And you may say, well, what does that mean? Well, that means that usually when Bitcoin starts to falter, it may take about a week, up to 3 or 4 weeks, then the rest of the market starts to falter too. And as we see here as well, Bitcoin really held up strong during the April fall, but then bounced back stronger and has done very well at making new all-time highs as we see on this chart. So since then, we have come back down and still forming this bear flag formation. That tells me Bitcoin is likely going to be going lower in the near to midterm. First support right at 101,872, followed by the bottom end of this parallel channel at 97,517. Into gold. Gold is now starting to put in bullish consolidation on top of the broken parallel channel. That's good and bullish for gold so far, but the knock on it is it has yet to confirm above this parallel channel. We'll see if that information changes in the coming days, but gold is still vulnerable for a pullback down in this parallel channel simply because it hasn't confirmed above. So keep that in mind. I wouldn't be wanting to go long here. I'd just be wanting to sit back on the sidelines, wait for a proper opportunity to set up, and then I will go long or either short on gold. Into silver. Silver, we've got sideways consolidation day, so not much new to report here, but the good news is this is all still bullish consolidation. This is telling me silver is gearing up. We'll see more days if we can trade sideways like this, but it is gearing up for an opportunity to push higher on the charts. Really like this chart setup so far. Into oil. Oil still struggles right here on this trend line. Seems like a broken record. We've been talking about this literally for months. We have yet to get above here, so really nothing to report. Is kind of in no man's land right now. Once it confirms, then the trading action is triggered. We'd want to buy basically where price action is here. But keep in mind, it's important to be disciplined. Stay on the sidelines. If that setup's not going to give you the right probabilities, there's no need to get in the trade. There are trades that present themselves every single day that you can take advantage of, and you don't want to be stuck in something that's kind of a 50-50 toss-up. Into Nat Gas. Nat Gas did another phenomenal day of staying within this wedge channel right here, or wedge pattern that we've got on the charts. Unbelievable price action with Nat Gas. Right now, again, I'm not going long or short, but I do have my support and resistance levels outlined here on the charts. Resistance at $4.18, support down here at $3.38. Into the 10-year yield. The 10-year yield had a nice drop today. Now, the beige book came out today, the Fed beige book, and said that May's economic and retail spending was not as solid as was anticipated. So we had a little bit of a pullback in economic spending in May, and then the 10-year yield responds by just dropping down like this. So good for the markets essentially, but it really didn't push the markets higher. So we may be at a divergence right now with the price action that's going on the 10-year as well as the stock market. We'll see in the coming days how far this pullback occurs. Into Unity Software. Now, Unity today had an interesting announcement. Their CTO decided to leave his position or her position after 6 months of being in that position. So it was a very quick stint for that individual. And that information came out today right here. And you can see the reaction initially was not that good. Price came all the way down. And notice this. This is one of the greatest things about technical analysis. Now, I didn't spot this initially, but that's okay. And this is a learning lesson. I learn every single day. I study charts in and out all day long as well as at night. And I like to find levels that I might have missed during the day so I can learn and be prepared for the next day. Now, here's something that I learned today. Now, I do already know, and this trend line I'm about to show you is a very powerful trend line. So all I did is I got my drawing tool and I am selecting here this top end of this pivot. Oops. Here, I'll get this one more time. So right there, the top end of the pivot, and then I'll select it to go horizontally all the way across. And look where the support was for this drop. Now, I want to teach you something. Whenever price action comes up, creates a nice pivot, pulls back down, then we have price get above that pivot and then come back down and test this area and bounce, test this area and bounce. That shows me that this line is, at least for the near term, is very significant on the charts for Unity Software. So far, we saw that drop come down today, get great support, and propel the stock back up higher. Now, keep in mind, this sort of pattern is not only valid on the 10-minute chart, it's valid on the daily, the weekly, the monthly, the hourly, etc. So as long as you understand and can recognize these patterns, you can take advantage of an opportunity in the future, one that I'm going to be better prepared for when we get into it for another trade tomorrow. As you see here, though, on the bigger time frame, Unity Software is in a declining parallel channel. And we've hit it now once, twice, and now 3 and 4 times. So now this trend line up here, which is the top end of the parallel, is weakened. However, with this news, we may start to see a little bit of selling come in. And if that's the case, this trend line will be ample support and provide ample support for a bounce and potential breakthrough the top end of this parallel channel. Support on this trend line roughly right around the $23 area. So watch for a pullback here for a buying opportunity to break through and get to the next resistance area at $32.22. Into Reddit, this was one of the bigger movers on the S&P 500 today. So I want to outline some areas where price action will likely go. Now, we did have an inverse head and shoulders pattern on the chart right here. We didn't break through and move higher. So since then, we've fallen back down, caught support here, and have continued to move higher. Little bull flag consolidation and a nice push higher today. So next area of resistance and a test is going to be right at $125. Watch that on Reddit. If we beat 125 and confirm above, now we're headed up here to 155.08 and initially at 137.30. So watch 125. Once it comes up here, we should be provided with insight as to which way Reddit will go, and then you can take a trade from that point. Into HPE. Now, HPE today, they had earnings. They had great earnings yesterday. They beat on earnings per share, and they also beat on revenue, and they said the full year forecast is going to be phenomenal. Look at this bull flag coming into that earnings report. That was beautiful. And then it just opened higher, and then all day long sold off. Look at this 10-minute chart. Just initially just sold off, then sideways consolidation. This near-term 10-minute chart shows this is bearish consolidation. And then you flip to the daily, this move up is bullish consolidation. So a little bit of conflicting information that's being provided here on the chart. Regardless, if price comes down, this would be a good buy-in opportunity at $16.44 for a move up to this resistance at 1982 that has yet to be tagged. So keep that on the radar for a good long opportunity. And into ON Semiconductor, look at the propelled move up on over the last couple days. Fantastic move. And then also look at this volume. Notice how volume is compared to the S&P 500. The volume on the S&P 500 is tapering off. It's not increasing, but we get back into ON's chart. This volume has excelled, has increased. So that tells me there's a lot of conviction for folks wanting to push the price on higher. So if you see here, though, there's a bull flag, and the measured move produced from this bull flag has already been achieved. So I anticipate there to be some sort of pullback, some minor reduction in price initially, and at best, we should likely see price come down to $46.66. If it does so, that would be a fantastic buy-in opportunity for price to move higher up to this next area of resistance right at $56, which would produce over 20% yield on that trade, which would be a great opportunity. Into AVGO. We've highlighted AVGO many times over the last couple weeks. And the reason being is because it truly has been remarkable. This push up and making new all-time highs as we highlighted yesterday. And it just continued moving higher today. But notice what accomplished today. We hit the measured move from this bull flag pattern. And I zoom into the 10-minute chart. Notice what happened from this measured move. Now, keep in mind too, measured moves aren't areas that I'm going to jump in short. They're areas that help tell me the momentum is likely to start shifting just simply because what was displayed on the chart has already played out. That pattern hit its measured move. A lot of other investors are like myself and have technical analysis backgrounds and can understand and see this sort of move happen. Thus, there would be sellers if they were in there. Like myself, I would be selling at that measured move. It doesn't mean the move is over, but it just means sentiment is starting to change on the chart. So that gives us an opportunity for pullbacks. So we get back into AVGO. Let's look at the chart. Now, if we do have any sort of pullbacks, the very first support area is going to be right here on this inclining trend line. That will be a very aggressive area to enter simply because we're already up here at all-time highs. A pullback is pretty typical with an advanced move like this. I would likely want to wait till under $250 to start inching into a position here. So keep that on the radar. And as long as price stays above this parallel channel, then we're going to have a chance to go up to the next resistance, which is up here around $281. And if I go back on the chart, you can see where that price comes from. It comes from a pivot all the way back in December of 2021, connected through this pivot here on December of 24, and that creates our next level in the chart for AVGO. Into Meta. Now, Meta had a fantastic follow-up day from a couple days ago in trading on Monday. This Monday candle excelled up. We only had 1 day of pause. Now, typically, that's not very good for momentum to be sustained for a long period of time. You want to see more consolidation and then a move up, and then consolidation and then a move up. So here we only had 1 day. So that tells me that Meta could exhaust itself sooner rather than later. So my eyes are fixed here on this inclining parallel channel. Now, if it takes a few days to get up there, that's going to coincide with this gap fill here at $716.37. So I would definitely be advised to put a reminder in this area so we can plan for a potential pullback in Meta, especially if Meta continues up with this trajectory over the next couple days. Into APLD. Now, APLD, they released just a couple of days ago, they signed 2 15-year leases with CoreWeave. Now, since then, price has just rocked off the chart. Look at this rocket ship move in the last 3 days of trading. Now moving up just from this close all the way up here and almost 100%, right now at 94% on the charts. Incredible move. But when these moves happen, don't chase them, folks. Don't chase them. There's always an opportunity where price will pull back and then it will continue the move. Now, Applied Digital also said, the worst days are behind them. Semiconductor said the same thing too. Their CEO came out and said, the worst days are behind us. We have a lot of interest for cloud computing and semiconductors and everything with AI in that space. So they're kind of gearing up for another bull run in the AI space. And the charts here with Applied are also showing that is a major breakout. If I scroll back, you can see APLD has chopped around much higher than current price. But since June of 2023, we have been contained in this parallel channel that we finally broke out of today. Now, we have not yet confirmed, so keep that in mind. We'll need to confirm up above this candle in the future trading days in order for the support area to be more solid, more like concrete. But this would be minor support still if price came down without confirming at 11.13. Just keep in mind that price could obviously break down and come back into this parallel, catch support among this other chop over there. All right, so that wraps up Trading the Close, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Look forward to bringing you guys some more information tomorrow on the charts. And keep in mind, we've got non-farm payroll and unemployment reports coming out Friday morning at 8:30. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time and see you on the charts.